Hey, it's Minimalist Gourmet, and today I'm bringing you that classic comfort food, tomato soup. We're not talking about that can of Campbell's you have up in your pantry, we're talking about a hug in a bowl. My recipe uses roasted tomatoes to turn that flavor up to 11. Balance that with some great aromatics and finish it off the right way with a nice dose of heavy cream right at the end. So let's get crack-a-lackin'. Of course, we're going to start with the tomatoes. Now, you can really use any variety of tomato that you like, but I like to stick with the smaller ones for this soup. Here I'll be using some Roma tomatoes. Whichever variety you do use, you do want to chop them up into roughly 1 inch pieces. In a large bowl, we're going to put all of our tomatoes and a very generous helping of olive oil. This will prevent them from sticking when we put them in the oven, add a bit of flavor, and really help that heat penetrate in. So go ahead and toss the oil on top and then give everything a good mix to coat evenly. On a pan or baking dish, we're simply going to pour out our tomatoes, spread them out into an even layer, and then put them in the oven and allow them to bake at 425 degrees for about 15 or 20 minutes. You can play some music while they cook because tomatoes love to dance. Their favorite's the salsa. And after about 20 minutes in the oven, our tomatoes are nicely roasted. They're looking fantastic, and that flavor's really been intensified and concentrated. I don't know why I used my oven though. I should have just used the comment section. That's always good for roasting everything. In a small pot over medium to medium high heat, I've got some butter melted and I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil. Don't forget, I always include a written recipe down in the description, so make sure to go and check that out. While you're down there, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you don't subscribe, it's going to make me cry more than cutting these onions. We're going to cook this onion for about 3 or 4 minutes, allowing it to soften up a little bit and turn a little translucent. You really shouldn't see any color on it. Next, our garlic goes in, and we're going to saute this for about a minute, two max. It should smell nice and fragrant. Don't worry if you just roughly chop all this stuff, we're going to take care of that later. Now, our wonderful roasted tomatoes go in, and make sure to get all of that lovely juice on the plate in there as well. Give everything a good mix, and next we're going to add in our chicken stock. Now, how much you add is totally up to you, depending on whether you like it thick or thin. I like mine nice and thick, so I'm just going to add 1 cup. Now, I don't actually have any chicken stock, so I'm adding 1 cup of water and enough chicken bouillon to make that into stock. 2 teaspoons of sugar is going to help cut the acid from the tomatoes as well as accentuate their natural sweetness. A bit of black pepper, and I wanted to throw in a teaspoon of my Italian herb mix. This is totally optional, I just like the flavor. Don't forget, we're also going to add a little bit of fresh basil right at the end. Also, notice I didn't add any additional salt because most chicken stock, or in my case, chicken bouillon, has plenty enough salt already in it, so I'm going to go ahead and taste that at the end and see if I need to add any more. Now we're going to let this simmer for a good 10 or 15 minutes. You can certainly do this uncovered if you'd like. I like to do a partial cover just so there isn't any splatter and it's a lot easier to clean up later. And about 15 minutes later, let's check on the soup. It's looking pretty nice. Everything is soft and broken down well, so this looks good to me. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the heat at this point and stir in my basil. You don't have to cut it up like I did. You can just stick in the whole leaves if you'd like. There's plenty enough residual heat. Now, if you have an immersion blender, I recommend you use it. You can skip this step and just puree it directly in the pot. I'm going to assume you don't have one, just like I don't, so I'm going to use my blender. You can also use a food processor, that'll work just fine. We're going to load up all of our soup into the carafe of our blenders or food processors and take it for a spin until it's nice and silky smooth. My lid is vented, but do be careful because this soup is hot and a lot of pressure can build up from the steam. I'm going to transfer the soup back to the pot that I cooked it in, but my range is off. We're not cooking it anymore. Our heavy whipping cream goes in. If you're looking for a slightly healthier version of this, you can certainly substitute the heavy whipping cream for something like whole milk or even 2% milk. Or if you want to go dairy free, you can add coconut milk. It will change the flavor slightly, but that's an option for you if you'd like. When it comes to serving, you can certainly just put it into a bowl and enjoy it because enjoy it you will. However, if you'd like to do something just a little fancier to impress yourself and your guests, pour a little bit of heavy whipping cream right on top into dollops just like this, and then use something like a chopstick to trace through it. You don't need to follow any special pattern, I just did some loops here, and it comes out pretty nice. For some contrast and texture, as well as a little bit of extra saltiness, I like to put a little bit of Parmesan right on top, or as Rick might say, Parmesan. And to get our greens in, we're going to add a couple leaves of basil right on top to round this out. Boy, is it looking good. And now for my favorite part, I get to give this a taste. It looks nice and rich, thick and creamy on the spoon, but how does it taste? Amazing. Amazing, guys. That's how it tastes. You can taste the wonderful fresh tomato flavor, but more than that, the roasting has really brought in this fantastic kind of smoky flavor as well. The aromatics, the garlic and onion, are fantastic. They're subtle, but they really do help support that tomato flavor. That cream really rounds it out, and I absolutely love that fresh basil flavor in there as well. I think it goes phenomenally. I made myself a toasted cheese sandwich to go along with this, but honestly, guys, it wasn't even necessary. This soup alone is stick to your bones. It is so filling and amazingly delicious. And since you guys like this video so much, definitely check out my video right here on how to make homemade naan. It's so easy and it tastes amazing with this tomato soup. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next episode of Minimalist Gourmet.